Greetings again. It's the old professor, struggling with a new concept. Is America really the great? Well, we've been fortunate to have had the boundaries and the natural resources that have enabled us to obtain the wealth we presently possess today. However, that might not necessarily be the only measure of greatness which applies. Let's face it, the world at this time is in danger and desperately needs great leadership to survive the dilemmas we face. Aside from unchallenged climate change, increasing biological threats like COVIDs, asteroids from space, conspiracy theories, such as attacks from aliens in outer space, stolen elections. Obama was born in Kenya. Mexico will pay for the wall, and so on. Yet it appears right now that it is the unending state of international narcissism, which could eventually lead to atomic warfare, that is the most serious threat of all. Of course, at this moment, the most urgent requirement for leadership has to deal with the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the genealogical invasion of Gaza by Israel. And just how are we measuring up to that as a measure of leadership? How long can our Congress remain locked up over fear and narcissism in order to act? Polls indicate constituents believe that border issues outweigh all other concerns. Apparently, genocides in the Ukraine and the Gaza Strip seem less important, and our president seems too fearful of losing popularity of his Jewish constituents and supporters to end his support of military aid to Israel, which contributes to the slaughter of tens of thousands of women and children in Gaza. America, wrong on failure to provide military aid to Ukraine? Wrong on our effort to give military aid to Israel? Well, time is of the essence right now. The world is watching. Can America come up with the leadership to provide what is needed before it's too late? Well, a brief glimpse of history right now might provide some insight to the situations facing us today. At the conclusion of World War II, the U.S., along with several European allies, decided it would be advantageous to enhance their interest in the acquisition of oil from the oil-rich Near Eastern countries by setting up a base in the area. Well, with the primary help of the United States, Israel was created on land occupied at the time by Palestinian settlers. Unfortunately, they were driven off without compensation to live on nearby unwelcoming lands. And since then, any attempt by Arab nations to regain the land, have failed generally due to military assistance offered from the U.S. Since then, animosity towards America by many of the Arab nations has amplified, particularly in Iran, which is working steadily to acquire atomic weaponry. Unfortunately, the West and the U.S. thirst for oil didn't end there. In the early 50s, Mohammad Mossadegh, leader in Iran, decided to nationalize the oil industry in his country. He noticed that much of the profits from Iran's oil were not going to Iran, a loss for Mossadegh, and his patriotic efforts. He was soon driven out of office by a coup orchestrated by the Americans and the British. Mossadegh was eventually replaced by an American puppet ruler called the Shah, who was able to protect American interests and profits from Iranian oil until later, when an Iranian revolution occurred. American hostages were taken, and the Shah was pathetically sent back to the United States in disgrace. An un-American religious leader named Ayatollah Khomeini took over, leading to this day a mountain of ill will towards America. Well, let's face it, should double standards have much to do with leadership and greatness? If oil is found on our land, it belongs to us. If oil is located on a foreign land, it's up for grabs. Just a little food for thought here. Of course, acquisition of oil is not the only measure of greatness. Yet, if we're to be searching for a way to combat the disease of international narcissism, perhaps it belongs in the picture. Are we great or not? Thank you. Ralph Schroyer on YouTube. Bye-bye.